Early Tuesday morning, Rafael Nadal became the 7th player in tennis history to win a career Grand Slam after beating Novak Djokovic in New York. You might have seen the match or even the highlights, but has the magnitude of the moment really hit you? If not, here's Reuters sports editor Ossian shine with Colette Wong to convince you in our brand new Zoom In feature brought to you by Canon.
Through searing heat, pouring rain, gale force winds, none of that was able to stop Rafael Nadal from becoming the 7th man to complete a career Grand Slam, and he did it by winning the US Open on Monday. Here to talk about that is Ossian shine. Now, Ossian, just a few years ago, we had Rafael Nadal labelled as a clay court specialist. We can't label that anymore of Rafael Nadal, can we?
We certainly can't. I mean, he's not a clay court specialist. He's a clay court genius,
yeah,
of course, but what a phenomenal US Open.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the tournament that finally debunked the myth that Rafa can't win in New York.
Yeah.
You know, the balls were too fast, the courts were too fast, the balls were light. All of these reasons were thrown up, and yet he came along, he won the tournament for the loss of just one set with some really dominant tennis, and
yeah,
as you say, became the latest member of the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, but how did he do it? Because I understand that the last 3 times, in fact, that he met Novak Djokovic, he lost to him, all of those on hard courts. How did he beat Djokovic this time?
He lost to Djokovic the last 3. None of those were in a Grand Slam, of course, so they weren't over 5 sets. And Nadal, such as his fitness, is that you would have to back him in a Grand Slam clash with Nadal or with Djokovic or with anyone else. He did it with a combination of just being Rafael Nadal, chasing everything down, hitting with great spin and power,
yeah, but
also with a beefed-up serve. I mean, his serve, he's put a lot of work into that now. And in that final, he outserved Djokovic. He hit more aces, he had a higher percentage rate, he hit more winners, and basically overpowered Djokovic.
But there was a moment in the second set where Djokovic was on top of things.
There was. I mean, Djokovic, he's won a lot of friends this tournament. He played some superb tennis, especially against Roger Federer in the semi-final, where at times he was just looking, you know, the best player in the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, he almost touched some of those heights against Nadal. But the problem with Nadal is that he's not going to go anywhere. I mean, you have to play your best tennis every point of every game of every set if you're going to beat him. And there's nobody in the world right now that can do that.
Now, you've been covering tennis for many years now, so you've obviously seen Nadal play. But what is he like as a person?
He is incredibly unassuming and modest. He's extraordinary. I remember asking him several years ago what it must be like to be the most famous sportsman in Spain. And he said, look, I'm not even the most famous sportsman in my family. His uncle, one uncle is his coach, the other uncle played for Spain and Barcelona.
Yeah, but I have to ask you, Roger Federer was world #1. He is still regarded as perhaps the best tennis player in history because of the 16 Grand Slam titles that he's won. Sure. Is it just a matter of time before he loses that moniker to Nadal?
I mean, only time will tell. And I think the history books will show that whoever wins 16, 17 or more will be forever known as the greatest tennis player. I think people will forget in 10, 20 years' time the head-to-head record that Nadal has against Federer. Unless Nadal can you know, overtake Roger Federer in Grand Slam titles, then it's going to be a very hard argument to win. Now, he's got 9, so he needs to win another 7.
He's only 24.
He's only 24, but I mean, the way he plays tennis puts such a burden on his body. And this is somebody who's already missed Grand Slam tournaments and had to pull out. I mean, he pulled out of the Australian Open this year.
But he seems to bounce back as well. I mean, whatever treatment he goes through, it works for him.
It has done so far. Yeah. But for a 24-year-old to have had surgery on his knees and to have had as much trouble at that age, I don't think is a great sign. I mean, you know, his court coverage and the spin he puts on the ball and you know, the way he hits the ball puts a lot of strain on his physique.
Do you see Federer going back to what he was before in the past, say, you know, 1.5, 2 years ago?
I don't think he can ever go back to that.
Why?
I think so much of that period where he was dominant was psychological for the rest of the field.
Right.
And they've seen his fallibility now. When he was going through Grand Slam after Grand Slam, winning it was, you know, it was worth a set and a half before he even stepped on court. Yeah. Apart from on clay, which Nadal was owning. But now it's, you know, he lost to Del Potro last year. He loses to Nadal. guys he shouldn't really be losing to.
Yeah. Do you think we'll continue to see this great rivalry between Nadal and Federer? Looking forward, say, to next season.
Absolutely. I think they're, whatever the rankings say, I think they're the numbers 1 and 2. I think we can safely back Nadal to win the French Open. Australia will be interesting. Roger Federer will want to come back and prove something there. So I think it'll be a good ding-dong year for the two of them.
Excellent stuff. Ossian Shine, thanks so much for joining us on SportsCentre.